Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Playoffs, that's what helps you win. I know. I think over the last couple of years, we've we've played really good baseball in the postseason. We've done it two very different ways. Obviously, incredibly bullpen heavy in 24 and 25, very starting pitcher heavy. I think a lot of it comes down to performing well.
The baseball world has been turned upside down. A trade proposal so catastrophically bad, so monumentally absurd, so mind-numbingly terrible has surfaced that it's left Los Angeles Dodgers fans absolutely furious and management scratching their heads in disbelief. We're talking about a deal that would make Dave Roberts lose his mind, a proposal so lopsided it borders on highway robbery, and not in the Dodgers' favor. The target? Miami Marlins pitcher Sandy Alcantara. The cost? 4 of the Dodgers' most promising prospects. The reaction? Pure, unfiltered outrage. Let's set the stage here. Sandy Alcantara, once a dominant force on the mound and the 2022 National League Cy Young Award winner, has become the subject of trade discussions linking him to various contenders across Major League Baseball. But this latest proposal, reported by Yahoo Sports' Garrett Kerman, isn't just ambitious or aggressive. It's downright delusional. According to the report shared by Sleeper Marlins on social media, the Dodgers would send 4 highly regarded prospects to Miami in exchange for Alcantara. Those prospects: Zahir Hope, Eduardo Quintero, Mike Sirota, and Alex Freeland. 4 talented young players who represent the future of the franchise, all packaged together for a pitcher who, let's be brutally honest here, hasn't looked like his former self in quite some time. The immediate reaction from anyone with even a passing knowledge of baseball economics and prospect evaluation was simple. This has to be a joke, right? Surely nobody in their right mind would propose that the reigning World Series champions gut their farm system for a pitcher coming off Tommy John surgery who posted a disastrous 2025 season. But here we are, and the proposal is very real, even if the chances of it actually happening are virtually non-existent. To understand just how terrible this trade would be for Los Angeles, we need to rewind the clock a bit and remember who Sandy Alcantara was at his peak. Back in 2022, Alcantara was arguably the most dominant starting pitcher in baseball. He posted a minuscule 2.28 ERA across an incredible 228.2 innings pitched, won the Cy Young Award, and looked like he would be an ace for years to come. He was a workhorse, a true throwback pitcher who could eat innings and dominate opposing lineups. Teams across baseball would have emptied significant portions of their farm systems for a pitcher of that caliber. That version of Sandy Alcantara, he was worth the investment. He was worth the risk. He was worth building a trade package around. But baseball is a cruel game, and injuries don't care about pedigree or past performance. In 2023, Alcantara's numbers took a noticeable dip. His ERA ballooned to 4.14, his record fell to 7 wins and 12 losses, and his WHIP climbed to 1.21. Still, there was hope. Many believed that with some adjustments, with the right coaching, with a change of scenery, Alcantara could return to form. He was still young enough, still talented enough, and still had the stuff that made him special. Then 2024 happened and everything changed. Tommy John surgery is the dreaded diagnosis that every pitcher fears. It's a career-altering injury that requires extensive rehabilitation, and while modern medicine has improved recovery rates dramatically, there's never a guarantee that a pitcher will return to their previous level of effectiveness. Alcantara underwent the procedure in 2024, missing the entire season. When he finally returned to action in 2025, fans and analysts alike watched with cautious optimism, hoping to see flashes of the Cy Young winner we all remembered. What they got instead was deeply concerning. The numbers from Alcantara's 2025 season paint a grim picture. His ERA sat at an ugly 5.36, his worst mark as a professional. His WHIP was 1.27, acceptable but far from elite. But the truly alarming statistics came when you dove deeper into his underlying metrics using advanced analytics like Baseball Savant. His velocity was there at 97.4 miles per hour, which is actually encouraging for someone coming off Tommy John surgery. That's the good news. The bad news? Virtually everything else was below the 30th percentile, with many metrics hovering closer to the 25th percentile. His strikeout rate dropped, his walk rate increased, and opposing hitters were making solid contact consistently. He wasn't missing bats, he wasn't inducing weak contact, and he wasn't giving his team a chance to win games. This wasn't the Sandy Alcantara anyone remembered. This was a shell of that pitcher, someone still trying to find his way back, but clearly not there yet. Now, let's circle back to this proposed trade and why it's so spectacularly bad for the Dodgers. First, let's talk about what Los Angeles would be giving up. Zahir Hope is one of the organization's top prospects, a young player with tremendous upside and the potential to be a cornerstone piece for years to come. Eduardo Quintero brings catching depth and offensive potential at a premium position. Mike Sirota is a promising arm who could develop into a reliable major league starter. Alex Freeland adds even more depth to an already talented group. These aren't fringe prospects or organizational filler. These are legitimate talents, the kind of players you build around, the kind of players you protect in trade negotiations unless you're getting back a truly transformative piece. And what would the Dodgers be getting in return? A 30-year-old pitcher who just posted the worst ERA of his career, who's still working his way back from major surgery, who has shown minimal signs of returning to his peak form, and who's under contract for just one more guaranteed year before a club option kicks in for 2026. After that, he becomes an unrestricted free agent. So even in the best case scenario where Alcantara somehow rediscovers his Cy Young form, the Dodgers would potentially only have him for 2 seasons before he hits the open market. This is essentially a rental, and an expensive one at that, costing 4 quality prospects for a player who might not even crack the team's top 5 starting rotation options. Let's talk about that rotation for a moment because it perfectly illustrates just how unnecessary this trade would be. The Dodgers currently have one of the deepest and most talented rotations in baseball. Their depth chart reads like a who's who of elite pitching talent. When you have the kind of arms Los Angeles boasts, adding Sandy Alcantara in his current form doesn't move the needle. In fact, you could make a compelling argument that prospects like Emmett Sheehan, Gavin Stone, and River Ryan would be more valuable rotation options than 2025 Sandy Alcantara. That's not a knock on what Alcantara once was. It's simply the reality of where he is right now in his career trajectory. The contract situation makes this even more perplexing. Alcantara is owed approximately $17 million for the 2025 season, and he has a club option for 2026 before becoming a free agent. For a team like the Marlins, who are perpetually operating on a budget and looking to rebuild, moving that salary and acquiring 4 quality prospects would be an absolute home run. It's a no-brainer for Miami, which is exactly why it should be an automatic rejection for Los Angeles. When a trade proposal is being described as a no-brainer for one side, that should immediately raise red flags for the other party involved. But here's where things get even more interesting and perhaps a bit more nuanced. Would the Dodgers be interested in Sandy Alcantara under different circumstances? Potentially, yes. If the asking price was significantly lower, if Miami was willing to accept lesser prospects or take on more of the financial commitment, if this was structured as a low-risk reclamation project, then maybe you could see Los Angeles kicking the tires. The organizational memory of what Alcantara was in 2022 doesn't just disappear. That Cy Young season was real. The 228.2 innings pitched with a 2.28 ERA was real. The dominance was real. Baseball front offices are filled with smart people who believe they can fix mechanical issues, who trust their coaching staffs to unlock potential, who see diamonds in the rough that others miss. There's a world where the Dodgers could talk themselves into believing they could resurrect Alcantara's career. But that world doesn't involve giving up Zahir Hope, Eduardo Quintero, Mike Sirota, and Alex Freeland. Not even close. In fact, that world probably doesn't involve giving up anyone in the organization's top 7 or 8 prospects, and even then, you'd want significant financial considerations or additional pieces coming back from Miami. The risk-reward calculation simply doesn't work when you're surrendering that much future value for a pitcher who's shown minimal evidence of returning to form. It's worth noting that the Dodgers aren't the only team that's been loosely connected to Alcantara in trade speculation. The New York Yankees, another team with championship aspirations and a desperate need for starting pitching depth, have also been mentioned in connection with the Miami Ace. But even for a team as hungry for pitching as New York, the same fundamental questions apply. Can Alcantara return to his 2022 form? Is he worth the prospect cost? Would he even be a significant upgrade over internal options? The Yankees have their own highly touted prospects, and giving up future stars for a version of Sandy Alcantara that looks nothing like the Cy Young winner would be equally foolish for them. The beautiful thing about baseball is that it's an unpredictable sport where redemption stories happen all the time. Pitchers who look washed up suddenly figure something out and dominate again. Maybe Sandy Alcantara will be one of those stories. Maybe he'll find his mechanics, regain his confidence, and pitch like an ace again. Maybe a change of scenery to a contender with an elite coaching staff and state-of-the-art resources would unlock something that's been dormant. Maybe everything clicks and suddenly he's back to throwing 200-plus innings with an ERA under 3. But maybe isn't good enough when you're talking about gutting your farm system. Maybe isn't good enough when you're surrendering 4 legitimate prospects. Maybe is for low-risk flyers and veteran minimum contracts, not blockbuster trades. What makes this entire situation even more baffling is that the Dodgers don't need to make this kind of move. They just won the World Series. Their roster is loaded with talent at every position. Their rotation is deep and talented. Their bullpen is strong. Their farm system continues to produce quality players year after year. This isn't a team that's one piece away from contention. This isn't a franchise that needs to mortgage its future for a chance at glory. The Dodgers are already there. They're already champions. They're already built to compete for multiple championships over the next several seasons. Making a panic move for a declining starter coming off major surgery makes absolutely no sense from any angle you examine it. Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager who's led this team to incredible success, would undoubtedly be livid if this trade went through. Roberts has shown throughout his tenure that he values depth, that he trusts his young players, and that he believes in the organizational philosophy of developing from within while supplementing with smart veteran additions. Trading 4 prospects for Sandy Alcantara flies in the face of everything that's made the Dodgers successful. It would signal a fundamental misunderstanding of roster construction and long-term planning. It would represent the kind of short-sighted thinking that bad organizations engage in, not the kind of strategic excellence that championship franchises embody. The broader context here is also important. The Marlins are a team in transition, perpetually rebuilding, constantly trading away their best players once they become expensive. They've done it before, they'll do it again, and Sandy Alcantara will eventually be moved somewhere. But that doesn't mean the Dodgers need to be the team that overpays for him. Let another organization take that risk. Let another general manager convince himself that he can fix what's broken. Let another fan base debate whether acquiring Alcantara was worth the cost. Los Angeles should be smarter than that. Los Angeles should recognize this proposal for what it is, a terrible deal designed to maximize Miami's return at the expense of the Dodgers' future. So, where does this leave us? The Sandy Alcantara trade proposal represents everything wrong with how some people evaluate baseball trades in the modern era. It's nostalgia-driven, clinging to what a player was 3 years ago, rather than objectively assessing what he is today. It's imbalanced, asking one team to surrender significant future value for minimal present-day benefit. It's unnecessary, solving a problem that doesn't exist for a team that's already constructed to win championships. And most importantly, it's not going to happen. The Dodgers front office, led by Andrew Friedman and his team of analytical experts, didn't build a dynasty by making catastrophically bad trades. They built it through smart drafting, player development, strategic free agent signings, and only making moves that improve the organization both now and in the future. Could Sandy Alcantara end up in a Dodgers uniform someday? Sure, it's possible. Baseball is unpredictable and stranger things have happened. But if it does happen, it won't be through this trade proposal. It won't involve surrendering 4 quality prospects. It won't represent the kind of franchise-altering mistake that sets organizations back years. If Alcantara becomes a Dodger, it will be on Los Angeles terms at a price that makes sense in a deal that represents smart business rather than desperate overreach. Until then, Dodgers fans can rest easy knowing that this particular proposal, as absurd and infuriating as it is, will never see the light of day in any serious trade discussions. The bottom line is simple. This trade is a non-starter, a conversation killer, a proposal so fundamentally flawed that it doesn't deserve serious consideration. The Dodgers will continue building their dynasty the right way, protecting their prospects, developing their talent, and making calculated moves that improve the team without sacrificing the future. Sandy Alcantara will remain in Miami or eventually be traded somewhere else. And years from now, we'll look back at this proposal and laugh at how absurdly one-sided it was, because at the end of the day, championship organizations don't build dynasties by making terrible trades. They build them by being smarter than everyone else, by valuing their assets appropriately, and by never, ever considering deals like this one. So what do you think? Would you trade for Sandy Alcantara if the price was dramatically lower? Could you see a scenario where he rediscovers his Cy Young form and becomes the ace everyone remembers? Or is this entire discussion a waste of time because there's no universe where the Dodgers should be involved in any trade centered around the current version of Sandy Alcantara? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate this. Let's break it down. And let's celebrate the fact that this disastrous proposal will never actually happen. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the worst trade proposals in recent memory, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more Los Angeles Dodgers coverage, analysis, and breaking news. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We're covering everything Dodgers, from roster moves to game analysis to prospect rankings and everything in between. The offseason is heating up, and you won't want to miss a single moment. Thanks for watching, and remember, the Dodgers are built to win championships the right way, not by making panic moves that destroy the future. See you in the next video.